Citizen Talks is a podcast series featuring discussions with humanitarians, activists, artists, and changemakers, exploring the global humanitarian issues that shape our society, the world at large. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Citizen Talks. Today we are very glad to be joined by Basel Mawlawi. He is a producer and filmmaker. Basel, thank you so much for joining us here today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here with you.
Wonderful. So first things first, if we could start with a little bit of information about who you are and what you do for our audience members who may not be familiar with you.
So I am a film producer. I produce films, fiction and documentaries. I do feature and short films as well. I studied filmmaking. I've been in the industry for around 15 years now. My interest was most of the time in the production side of making films. So I started as a production assistant, then I did production management, then I moved to line producing, and now I'm working as a producer. I work in a production company called Kinana Films, which is based in Sweden.
So what was like the sort of motivating incident or I guess collection of moments that made you decide filmmaking, I want to make films? That was the thing that you wanted to do with your life, right? Where did that sort of journey begin?
I mean, my parents always mentioned that since I was a child, they always felt that I have interest in culture somehow. So I used to watch a lot of movies. I had a period of time when I got really interested in music, so I tried playing music, for example. So I always wanted to do something connected to culture. But then I remember when I was a child, there is a famous Syrian director who passed away. His name is Mustafa Al-Aqad. He used to study in the US. He made the famous film The Messenger about the Prophet Muhammad, of course. And I remember back then I read a story about that film did really well. So I thought, okay, film is a good way to make an impact in general. Not necessarily with religious stories, but I mean in all topics. So I started expressing my interest in film. And then I started looking for a film school. My parents didn't really agree in the beginning. I come from a family where everyone works with business. So I started actually my studies studying business administration for 1.5 years, but then I couldn't continue. And that's where I moved to Jordan to study filmmaking, and that's how I started my career.
No. Okay. I remember The Message, man, so well from when I was a kid. It's it was one of those films, you know, that when you're young, Muslim, it has a big impact on you. Although the first time my uncle tried to show it to me, I was like, no, I want to watch The Matrix, you know. But
yeah, it did really well with TV as well. So it used to be aired a lot on several TV channels.
Interesting. So what was it that made you choose to focus on the specific genre that you did? Like non-fiction, storytelling, and short films, like specifically?
I mean, my intention was never to focus on documentaries specifically, not on short films either. When I used to live in Jordan, I do not recall doing any independent documentary. I did one documentary series for a TV channel, but beside that, most of my projects were actually fiction. When I moved to Sweden, unfortunately, I had to somehow prove myself again, right? So I needed to start over. And the way was to start by doing short films again. And the reason behind this was because Europe in general has a different structure of producing than the United States. They work a little bit differently. So I started doing short films again, and it went really well. Somehow I think I came with, I started being approached by second generation immigrants that has some sort of a connection to the Middle East. And being a producer in Sweden, having access to this kind of stories, I think I came with an interesting plate, you know. So it was kind of not easy, but a bit easier than others to finance this kind and this sort of stories. So I started doing short films, and then naturally I started receiving pitches for documentaries, and one of them, Yalla Parkour, is the one that's now actually popular. It started its journey in November 2024.
Yeah.
And it's touring big festivals all over the place, and that's why I think the light is on documentaries specifically. But on the fiction side, I did previously, I did Oversized Coat, I did Passing Dreams, I did several fiction films. They are of course co-productions. I was not the main producer, but I was one of the producers working on them. And yeah, now I'm exploring all possibilities to have a good balance in general between documentaries and fiction films.
Okay. So actually I want to ask you about those films in particular, because I think the ones that you mentioned, like Yalla Parkour, Oversized Coat, and forgive me, the other one, Passing Dreams, they're all, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they're all focused on Palestinian stories.
Yeah.
Right? So what's, I guess, the nature of your relationship with Palestine? Like, why do you think that you've sort of focused so much on Palestinian stories specifically?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I've never actually came to think about it, but I think, I mean, since I started my career in Jordan, I met a lot of Palestinians, of course, and
Right.
the Jordanian society in general is interested in stories about Palestine. On the other hand, Palestine it should be an interest for every human on the planet in general. So I've never felt anything odd that this story does not belong to me somehow. So yeah, and for Oversized Coat, for example, because Oversized Coat, I used to live in Jordan. I used to work with the director who's also Palestinian. So I worked as a line producer on that project. And then Passing Dreams, I got introduced to the story by the director, Rashid Mashrawi. He's also a Palestinian director. He was looking for a co-producer in Europe. So I also got interested in the story, and I've been part of it. Yalla Parkour has somehow a personal connection because the protagonist, the main character of the film, he somehow took the same immigration journey as the one I took. So he immigrated. He immigrated from Gaza to Sweden. I did the same, from Syria to Sweden, and the story is it's about the sport of parkour. It's about Gaza, but it's a lot about belonging. Yeah, so I felt some sort of a connection. It made sense because part of the story is happening in Sweden.
You know, I want to ask you about specifically how this sort of migration and integration into a new society has impacted your own work, right? Because you come from one place, there's a certain perspective, there's a certain way of doing things, you move to another place, you know, you already have a sense of self when you get there, but then you're integrating into this new society, learning new things, and that impacts not only, I think, how you look at yourself, but how you look at your artwork, what's important to you, values, etc. So sort of how do you feel like that process of moving between societies changed and influenced your work, even your focus in terms of what kinds of films you wanted to do, this type of thing, you know? What impact would you say that balance between identities had on your output, I guess?
Yes. So working in several countries gave me a good understanding about how to tell the story, how to tell it in a way where people can receive it with an open heart and mind. When I moved to Sweden and started following, for example, productions they have in general. And as I mentioned earlier, I started being approached by second generation immigrants that came with a different sort of stories. That made us come with with a new story to the society, but we had always to think about how to present it, you know? Because we all come from different backgrounds, different cultures, influenced by different politics as well. So the main thing that I always think about is how I'm gonna tell this story in the best way possible when everyone can understand it, accept it, and be open about it.
What would you say is the biggest difference that you've noticed between, or not necessarily the biggest one, but you know, whatever, any series of differences between Arab filmmakers and Nordic, I guess Sweden's Nordic, right?
Sweden's Nordic.
Nordic filmmakers.
Yes.
I see some Nordic things, they're like a little bit dark, you know, they're kind of, they're interesting, they're very interesting. It's very two different sort of ways of looking at the world, right? And presenting yourself to the world.
Yeah.
So from your perspective, what are some of the differences there?
I think, I mean, this question has it has two perspectives. From the technical perspective, of course, I think things takes a longer time in the Nordic to be made, but when they're made, they're really good. On the other hand, and now if I talk about the commercial side, I think in the Arab world, we wanna do things quickly. Maybe we don't give it enough time of pre-production and preparation before we make it. And that's where you can see the difference quality-wise and story-wise, yeah? Now, from the other side of the questions, which is connected to the story, I think we do have similarities between Nordic and European countries and Arab countries, but we have a lot of differences, I think. Differences in terms of how we look at things, especially from a political aspect.
Right,
yeah?
right.
So it's always about, I think, creating it's always about being curious about the other part, creating a common ground, so we can discuss those differences and see where we meet.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So something sort of interesting that I noticed, and you mentioned it, right, was related to your film Yalla Parkour.
Yeah.
As you said, it's been receiving awards, it's been making the rounds. And I think I was looking into the film a bit, and you know, one of the first things that I saw was that it was awarded at the Berlinale, right?
Yeah.
I found that a bit ironic, to be honest with you, just because, you know, you're being awarded for a Palestinian-centric film in a country which is very shamelessly supporting an ongoing genocide in a nation that is committing genocide actively, right? Live on television for everyone to see. And I'm wondering if that kind of struck you at all, the reception of the film versus the reality of the society or the nation that you were in when it was received so positively. You know, do you feel like that juxtaposition is just a divide between like the people and the state? Do you feel like the artistic community is more humanitarian in its character, broadly speaking, or is there something else there that sort of allows for this duality of mind, you know, to be reflected in things like this, you know, celebrating a Palestinian film while not really doing anything for the Palestinian people?
I'll tell you something interesting. In Berlinale, we won the second audience award. So that award came from the audience as well.
Right.
Yeah. But what you realize in general, that the audience, the people at the festival were very open.
Yeah.
They really liked the film. I think we had a lot of different diversity in the audience attending from different political point of views and backgrounds and all of that. And for me, that's what I want from the film itself. I want to create a dialogue. I want for people to look into Gaza from a different perspective, to really try to understand what is Gaza. It's really important to remember that the people of Gaza, they are humans. They have dreams, they have emotions, they want to be successful like everyone else, because we do tend to forget, and sadly that sometimes happened in purpose through dehumanizing people. Yeah. So it's important to remember that the people of Gaza has dreams. Now, in terms of, I mean, the film has been doing really well among film festivals. It has been well received everywhere. We did our premiere in New York, actually, at Doc NYC. There we won the Grand Jury Prize for the film.
Very nice.
Then we did a screening in the Red Sea Film Festival in Saudi Arabia. And then we did Berlinale, and we were very happy because to be honest, not specifically because the topic is considered to be a bit sensitive and because it's about Palestine, but in film in general you can never predict what's going to happen with your film.
Right.
You try to do your best, you try to do the best film possible, and then you wait and see how will it do with film festivals. So with Yalla Parkour, we were so happy because it's for us it's a really important story that we want to travel, we want to reach audience from all over the globe, and thankfully it has been doing really well.
Yeah, well, congrats on your success.
Yes.
So for someone such as yourself, speaking about, I think, maybe atypical subjects, being from a atypical background for the, let's say, traditional film industry. As you are sort of a non-traditional person in the film industry, you're from a different background, than what the classic Hollywood, I guess, image is, and you have a different perspective, a different view on the world. Do you feel like the film industry, broadly speaking, is open to people such as yourself? Is it welcoming? Does it sort of value the voices that you're representing and the stories that you're telling? Do you think that there is now a space for people such as yourself, or do you get any sense of hostility, pushback, this kind of thing when you move in different spaces within the industry?
I mean, in general, I think it's welcoming. Most of the time, people that work in culture and have interest in culture, they're open towards other people. Obviously, getting rejections is part of the filmmaking, of course. So
sure.
we do send applications and get rejected in some places. We get accepted in some places. So it's part of the process. If I talk about my experience in Sweden, for example, Sweden was very, very open and welcoming when I had to start my life over. Yeah, so that was really, for me, it helped me a lot to establish myself again, to grow as well, to strengthen my muscles in the production and the industry. So I think there is always space for that. And also, being a film producer is about being pragmatic, and it's about being persuasive. Yeah, because you have to always persuade people to be part of your project. You get the idea, you have to persuade actors to be part of it. You have to
right.
Financiers and all of that. So if you truly believe in your story, others will also believe in it, and they will, most of the time, they will give you a chance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for people who are on a different path to sort of achieve what you've achieved? People coming from different places, same thing, people with different voices, different stories. You have any advice for how they can sort of break through or break in, I guess?
Believe in your story. Try to really present it with an open heart and mind as well. That comes as well from the filmmaker's side. But believing in your story is the number one, I would say. You will receive a lot of rejections, you will receive a lot of pushbacks, but if you truly believe that your story needs to be told and needs to be out there, you have to be pragmatic and find a way to finance it and make it happen. So don't give up. It's going to be difficult in the beginning, But once you start making achievements, things will become easier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So you are, I know, just in Syria. Should we expect any films from you coming out of Syria anytime in the near future?
I hope so. Yes, that's actually one of the goals that I have right now. That hopefully in a couple of years we'll see the Assyrian production in one of the big festivals around the globe.
Nice. Okay. So I guess we're at the end of our time here. But before we go, do you have any final words that you want to share with the audience? Any sort of last things you would like them to walk away with?
Well, a tip to the audience is to be open-minded towards stories and ideas and cultures. So always be interested in exploring something new. And for the filmmakers and producers and creators, believe in yourself, believe in your story, and make it happen and contribute to the diversity of the planet.
There it is. Okay. So for any of our audience members who might want to follow along with you, see what you're working on, etc., where can they connect with you?
They can connect through Instagram.
Okay.
So I have an account there. That's where I'm active, mostly active publicly.
Feel free to what's your account, man? Let us know. Feel free to promote your Insta.
Should I do it now?
Yeah, let us know what the account. What's the account?
The account is my
address?
name. So it's my first name and last name. So Basel Mawlawi.
Okay.
On Instagram, and you'll find me there.
Okay, great, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, Basel, thank you so much for joining us here today. We really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
And for all of our listeners, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Citizen Talks, and we will see you next time.